Hey guys, welcome to another Reebok Rebel Shorts. We are here today with Evie Hollis, all the way from UAE. She is going to be competing at the Reebok Rebel Renegade Games next weekend. Really excited, getting into competition mode, ready to go. So we're going to chat to Evie, find out a little bit about her, where she comes from, how she found CrossFit, how she trains, and I suppose the big question, what her feelings are on next weekend, and whether she's going to crush it and stamp her ticket to the games. I think it's a really exciting event. Everyone who's here, we've got a pretty big international field, all looking for that coveted ticket. Probably one of the hardest regions in the world to compete in. I think it's a tough one because everyone thinks it's Africa, so it's a weaker region. Definitely not the case, a little bit different, and only one ticket. So really exciting, and it's got to be a weekend of pure execution. So always exciting to watch. We love it. You guys always put on a good show for us. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you find CrossFit? How long have you been CrossFitting?
Okay, so this is a long one. I'll try and shorten it down. But I pretty much started CrossFit when I was 15, just about to turn 16. I used to play football at a high level, and I was just trying to get fit for football. My parents did CrossFit before me, and then I just kind of tagged along with my mum one day. Ended up loving it, ended up quitting football, just doing CrossFit, and then also ended up pursuing CrossFit as a career in terms of coaching. So I went into the coaching side, kind of been all over the world coaching, went to the Caribbean, I went to Guernsey, the UK, and then now Abu Dhabi, where I live now. And then I would say maybe about 6 years ago was when I first started to get really kind of high level as an athlete and do some of the higher level international competitions. And then from there, I've done semi-finals in Europe, I've done one of them in Asia, and then now Rebel.
Cool, exciting stuff. So passionate about CrossFit, about the methodology, all of those wonderful things, which is what we love because we always say the Reebok Rebel Renegade Games is about the community, for the community. So it's always good to have athletes that coach and are active in the community. Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day and what that looks like currently.
Yeah, so I'm not a full-time athlete in any way. I coach a lot. At the moment, I'm a freelancer in Abu Dhabi, which means I just work for myself. I do like personal training. I coach classes in CrossFit gyms or other gyms. I work in a university coaching the students, strength principle courses, and then a lot of online programming. And I actually have a few Josie people now who I program for, which is cool, getting that relationship from being here the last time. So yeah, I kind of balance all of that stuff with training a lot as well as an athlete.
What is a lot? Tell us a bit about your sort of training volume. Do you program for yourself? What does that sort of look like? Obviously, 6 years in the sport. What's changed? How has the sport changed? I think you'll have some really good insight in terms of 6 years ago, CrossFit was pretty different to what it is now. If we look at, I suppose, the scores on the leaderboard and what they were then and what they are now. What does your sort of training look like?
Yeah, so when I first got into it, it was just class workouts, which I think everyone should do first for a few years. And then you can start to do little extras and stuff like this. Right now, recently, maybe a year and a half ago, I moved to Training Think Tank. So my coach is called Adam Rogers. And I recently just went out to Training Think Tank and trained with those guys for a little bit. But I would say for my training, 5 days a week, it's going to be 2 sessions a day. Roughly, the first session might be 90 minutes to 2 hours, and then the next one could be 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And then I have like a recovery day on a Thursday, and then a full rest day on a Sunday. So yeah, it's a lot. And then I think the way that the sport has progressed, I think if you look at CrossFit in 2016 or below, it kind of favoured a bit of a smaller athlete, a shorter athlete, with more of the classic CrossFit stuff. I think in recent years, there's been a big favour towards machines, higher output, which kind of favours a bit of a bigger athlete. So it just means for me, I just have to get better at the machines and stuff, so I can kind of still hit the same level and same scores as the bigger athletes on those type of workouts. But again, it's CrossFit, so every year could change. So that's the frustrating, but also the fun part of training. You never know what you're going to do on the competition floor, so you just got to hope for the best, train everything, and see what comes out.
Awesome. So you've competed at a lot of high-level events, high-level semi-finals. Tell us a little bit about that, about the competition weekend, the experience from sort of an athlete's eyes. I think often as event staff or as spectators, we don't always know what's going on behind the scenes and what's going on in your head for an event. Tell us a little bit about how you approach that and what that sort of looks like.
Yeah, so I think for me it's changed over the years. I recently started working with a mindset coach just before Rebel last year. And the big difference for me was, I don't know, I think I'm quite a jokester. Like, I'm not super serious normally. I like to have a laugh as well. And I think sometimes I think of other people before myself sometimes. So I would used to go to a warm-up area, there's one bike for 5 girls, and I'd be like, okay, you go. No, you go. And then I think the big difference of last year was like, you have to be selfish sometimes. You're here to do what you want to do. You're not here to make friends. You're here to compete. So kind of trying to channel that a little bit more. And once I get into the warm-up area, just kind of being an athlete and not being a coach trying to help someone else, or just like chatting to someone because they want to chat to you and you've got 10 minutes before you're on the floor. It's like, no, I need to focus on me. So I think I've probably got a little bit more dialed in to that side throughout the last few years, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, competition's always tough. Tell us a little bit about Rebel last year. Renegade Games, a slightly different competition, a different format, 9 workouts, so it's big. Do you think that favors you and favors athletes, or what's your feeling on sort of 9 workouts across 4 days?
So on that note, before when you were saying about like this region is very high on community, that's a big reason that I'm back here and I enjoyed Rebel so much, because it reminds me of old school CrossFit. Like, the crowd was so good last year. The way the competition was ran, it was very professional, reminded me more of like regionals compared to other competitions I've been to. And I just think the community in Africa is really good. That's why I wanted to come back. And then with 9 events, I think it favors someone like me because I consider myself a well-rounded athlete. So I might not get like a home run on some things, but I think I can be up there on a lot of the stuff. So you have to be well-rounded over 9 events. I think as well, it's not just who's the better CrossFitter. Sometimes it's who fueled enough, who recovered enough, who warmed up properly, who can survive 9 events over 4 days, who's done enough volume in training. Things like that becomes a huge factor when it's 9 events versus 6 events of other semifinals.
So in your opinion, I mean, we always think we're going to get the right athlete to the games because it's a closer format to what you would experience at the games. Do you think that's correct? Do you think it's too much, too early?
Obviously, last year after 6 events, I was first. So if you cut it there, I'd have loved it. I'd have been happy. But no, it is. I think if you're going to qualify someone for the games, they need to mimic the games as much as possible. So yeah, I think if you qualify from this semi-final, you're going to be ready for the games.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, leading after 6 events, obviously that's always cool, but you've got another 3 events to go, so it's another day and a half of competition if you're at Renegade. Last year, I think a particularly tough field because there were sort of 4 women who were really sneaking in places. How do you think that'll change this year? I think the field is definitely goes a lot deeper.
Mm-hmm.
We've probably got at least 10 women who can get in and sneak between. Does that make you feel a little bit better in terms of if you are just consistent, someone might get in and win something that someone else wouldn't have? Where, I mean, by the end of my last event last year, it was Christina or you. There was no, Sarah couldn't even get in to get a silver. It was done.
Yeah.
Where this year, because the field's a little deeper, it might change that a little bit. I think it's still going to be really tight. I mean, it's always tight here. In the last 4 years, it's come down to the last workout.
Yeah.
In the women's field. In the men's field, pretty close. I mean, last year, Toby came from behind to win it. And there were a lot of guys who did him favors. And I think this year the women's field will be similar to that.
Yeah.
So do you think it's not just your performance now, it may be what someone else can do to help you or what someone else does to hurt you?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I've come from semi-finals in Europe, for example, there's been girls who get a 30th place finish and they still qualify for the games because the field is so strong, like so many people get in the way. And then last year, well, with it being one spot, it is a bit different. Like you can't really afford too low of a finish. But last year especially, it was like, if you come outside the top 5 in any event, you're done. Like it proved that with Sarah last year. She finished, I think, 20th or something on 333.
Yeah.
And then even if she won the rest of the workouts, I don't think she could have caught up those points unless we totally bombed.
Yeah.
Whereas this year, with it being a bigger field, I think you can not panic if on day 1, day 2, you maybe get a bit of a poorer finish. But at the same time, if you're in first place after the first or second day, you can't get too excited because there's a hell of a lot of workouts to go and there's a lot of stuff that can happen on the leaderboard. So yeah, I think as well, especially the more specialist events could see shift. Like last year, for example, when we had that handstand elimination, I've never been so stressed in my life because I'm not a gymnast, I'm an ex-footballer. And I just knew anyone could be good at just doing handstand walks. And like, if I don't make it past the pirouette round, that's it, we're done. So it's those type of events. When it's like classic CrossFit, I think you're going to see the same names all the time. It's just maybe like if there's a endurance event or a heavy lift or something, you're going to get people coming out of nowhere who are going to impact the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think, but I do think that's also the beauty of 9 events is we can put things like that in place, so it is exciting. And if you are really strong at a lift or at endurance, you will be rewarded for that. But at the same time, it's not 6 events where it's almost weighted more. So I mean, we love to watch heavy lifting, so there has to be heavy lifting. And then endurance for us, particularly in our region with 9 events, we always have a big one. So, I mean, you've seen there's going to be a floor full of ergs, which we're fortunate. So we'll have 80 ergs on the floor, 40 athletes hammering each other for some points.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which is cool. And I think it adds an element to it where everyone's on the floor. It's not, I mean, it's the heat wins the win. So you know where you are, and you can't game the workout because, oh, well, in the last heat they did this, so I need to do X, which is pretty cool. But I do think it is more fairly weighted because there are 9 events, and the majority of which are classic CrossFit.
And I think as well, anything can happen on a competition floor. Like, when people say, oh, this person's coming, they're definitely going to win. It's like, no, like, there's 9 events. So much can go down in 9 events. So much can go down the week of the comp. Someone gets injured, someone gets sick, someone got food poisoning, whatever, that changes things. And then same thing, someone messes up an event. Like, I think it's exciting because so much can happen, and you just have to believe in yourself and just execute the best of your ability for each of the events, and whatever happens, happens. You can't control who comes, you can't control how they perform, what scores they get, you can't control the workouts, so you just got to focus on what you can control, and the results will be the results. So that's it.
So what do the next sort of week and a half look like for you? I mean, we are 8 days out of competition.
Yeah. So obviously you guys are starting to release the workouts, so it's kind of testing a little bit, maybe some interval formats of the workouts to get a feel for it. I also believe because it is 9 events, 4 days, for me personally, I don't taper too much because I'll be wrecked after 2 days. If I've rested too much, it's like when you go for a deload week and that first week back, you're so sore after the first day. So I will I will do a bit of a taper, but I will maybe keep the volume a little bit higher than I would if it was just a 2-day competition, for example. Try and adjust some timings, like train a little bit later, things like this. And then, just chill and hang out with the guys here at Josie and try and have a laugh. When you're not training, try not to think about CrossFit. Watch some Friends, something like this, and chill out. And then, that's what I'll be doing.
Okay. So important for you to keep your mind off of
100%.
Off of the comp and what's happening.
That was a big thing for me last year, separating, like, you've got your athlete cap and then you've got your human cap. And if you're constantly in the athlete cap, you're going to burn out. You need to save it. When you're in the warm-up area, athlete cap goes on. When you finish your workout, take it off. And then hopefully that helps you stay a bit more level throughout the weekend.
Here we go. So, second time in South Africa.
Yes.
What do you think? Likes and dislikes?
Oof.
What have you tried that is cool and not cool?
In terms of the comp or Africa itself?
No, Africa itself.
Well, Kaylee made me try cream soda. Wasn't a fan of that one. But
I mean, who's not a fan of cream soda?
I was a fan of the
Definitely
Bry.
going to lose some supporters.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, it's better than root beer, which I tried in America. That was even worse. But I will give it to you. The Bry, better than a barbecue that we have in England. I was skeptical, but it was good. It was decent. At the moment, I'm really enjoying the weather because I come from the desert. So it's like 40 degrees now in Abu Dhabi. So like being able to, I know it's cold, but in the morning, sit, bit of a sun, have a coffee, like that's nice. And obviously the nature and the wildlife type here, I don't get that in Abu Dhabi. Like there's not much greenery in Abu Dhabi. So it's nice to see that when you come here.
See green things.
See green things, yeah.
There we go. Cool. Let's chat a bit about the season. CrossFit have this thing where they like to change stuff a lot, which is difficult for athletes, fairly difficult for us as well as organizers to try and make things work. A bit of insight into how you feel about the season changing? I mean, our event, the biggest change is that we've had to open it up to an international athlete base. So I think for the event it's pretty cool, but for us as a region, we really try and look after our region. So it does make it much harder for anyone from Africa to get to the games, which is obviously we're African and that's our directive. How do you feel about what's going on in the season now? A lot of semifinals, a lot of athletes available to move around. How does that?
Yeah. To be honest, obviously, it is frustrating when CrossFit just change it all the time. Me personally, I always think regionals was the best way. I think everyone agrees with that, really. But it's the game we play. We all still do it anyway. We all still sign up. We're not in control of it, unfortunately. I think this year is a bit messy because no one knows who's going where, and like some athletes are signed up for like 4 semi-finals, and I think it favors people who are high athletes who have a lot of sponsors who can fly here, fly there, sign up here. It doesn't really favor just people who, say, someone like me, coaches, and I just pick one competition to go to. But it is what it is. With the internationals coming over, it's like, for me, if I win Renegade Games and I qualify for the CrossFit Games, I want to have earned it. I don't want to just have qualified because like maybe no one else signed up or have an easier ride. It's like, if I qualify this weekend or next weekend, I've truly earned it because the field is stacked this year. So that's like, you want to qualify and you don't want to just turn up and come last at the CrossFit Games. You want to be able to go there and compete. So for me, it's like, okay, it is what it is. Some good athletes are coming. So I just need to raise my level to try and beat them. Also, it's like, I'm only part of this region last year because you recently added the UAE. Like, I come here because I live in the UAE and we joined with Africa last year. So you could say I was lucky last year to be able to come to this region. So I can't then now have a problem with other people coming because that was me last year. I do agree, though. I think there needs to be something, I don't know, I think it would be good to still have an athlete from Africa representing your region, and same an Africa from Asia or Europe, like making that distinct path to the games. But again, it's CrossFit, it's their game, we just play it, so is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's fair, and I do think we want to see universality in CrossFit because that has traditionally been the route. But I do think regionals, our best performances from African athletes has always been in the Meridian years, where we had Jason Smith and a lot of guys. You know, we'd always have 2 or 3 athletes on the cusp of missing. We'd have 2 or 3 teams at the games. So it was always, we were stronger then. And I think I'm hoping that this change from CrossFit at least drives our community to be better, train harder, and that'll lift the level, which is I'm hopeful for.
I do think this region could get an extra spot with how many good athletes are coming here now. I do think it deserves 2 spots to the games, to be honest.
JMac, yeah, 2 spots, please. Yeah, I mean, we'd love 2 spots. I think it does. It would change the event a little bit. I kind of like the ruthless, it's all or nothing format of our event because it's one spot. I think always in the briefing, it's you can never take your foot off the gas. You have to go full ball every single event because it's so tight and there is only one spot. So I think it does change the intensity of the event for us, which is cool for the spectators, and it really makes a good show, which is cool. You say the field's stacked, and it is. We've got, particularly on the women's side, there are a lot of top female athletes who have put their hand up and done qualifiers and are going to show up. Are you excited to compete against them? You've competed against a lot of these athletes before. Most of the internationals are coming from Europe, which isn't a surprise. It's a stone's throw away, and it's the same time zones, and it really does make it fairly simple. How do you feel about that? What are you looking forward to on that sort of side?
Yeah, I think also there's a few of the girls from Africa who are back this year that weren't there last year. How do I pronounce her name? Tana?
Yep, Tana's
and
back.
Gil-Marie.
Yes, Gil-Marie's back.
They were both not there, so that's cool. Get to compete with those girls. And then, yeah, I know a few of the European girls and one of the American athletes as well that are coming over. So I tried not to pay too much attention, like especially during qualifiers and leading up. I actually didn't look at the leaderboard on that side because I was like, it doesn't make a difference. Like I just have to train hard regardless. And then obviously on Instagram you see things, you know who's coming. And like I've said before, it's just makes it a harder but better competition. And it means if you want to win, you just have to be better and you have to just give it everything that you've got. Like I said, anything can happen on game day. So you just got to focus on yourself. And then, yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting 9 events.
We've released some stuff. Your favorite so far?
Maybe Gretel.
Okay,
And
so
part
event one.
of the, I've made it known that I would like more legless rope climbs in that workout, but the legless workout with the bench press, that's a pretty cool one. I can't even remember what else has been announced, but yeah.
Nor can I, so I'm not going to say anything in case I give something away that I shouldn't. Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. We've released the interval one.
There's 2 intervals ones, the box jump and then the skills.
Yes.
Which one are you talking about?
Box jump.
Yes.
You're fairly short.
It's true. But I'm quite explosive, so I'll be all right.
And the gymnastics there?
Gymnastics, yeah. Like those 2 movements are like one of my best movements. So I wish those were a little bit more, but it is what it is. You can't control the programming. Just got to crack on. So.
And the interval workout, very different format, more sort of skill-based, I suppose. It's a volume game, but it's also a skill game, particularly the first 2 movements, some double unders. How do you feel about the unbroken element?
Yeah, that makes it interesting. It makes it a lot of pressure. So it's going to see who can keep the bottle under pressure. So I think that workout in particular can see some shifts on the leaderboard depending on what happens. But yeah, it also depends how you guys score it. Like we don't know how you're going to score that. So we'll see.
Well, I'm not telling you how we're going to score it. You can find out.
Tell the fans. They want to know.
You can all find out after briefing on Thursday next week. What would you like to see? There's still a lot to release. We've got another 4 or 5 to release. What are you hoping for?
Well, I was hoping for legless. That came out.
Yeah.
I was hoping for chest to bar. That came out. I would love a 1 rep max power clean. You know, just like allow no one to go below parallel.
Yeah, you and Matilda both.
Yeah, we're there. Me and Matilda, yeah. I personally would like to see the heavy lift, whatever that is, be under fatigue, or like you have to do fitness or something to earn your right to lift the weights. I just think that's sometimes a better test. Or like in a ladder format like the teams that have been announced, where it's more reps. Something like that I would like. But apart from that, just classic CrossFit. Nothing like crazy, weird movements. Just classic straight up couplets, triplets, something like that. Yeah.
Cool. It's all pretty simple.
Yeah,
We stick to
good.
CrossFit. Mayhem sticks to CrossFit.
Yeah, I'm glad no crossover double unders. We've already got double unders. It's fine.
I love how as athletes you break down the workouts, and it's not something we often see, but like you guys have been around, it's like, okay, well this has come out, like, okay, so that's off the table.
Yeah.
Is that how you think? Is that how you?
Yeah, probably. I think there's obviously things like, for example, last year, you look at, okay, what was programmed here for the max lift? Okay, so that won't be the max lift. It's probably going to be something like this. Or like, yeah, you've already got ring muscle ups. So, okay, that's off the table. Does that mean they're going to put bar? But the thing is, last year, I did not think the final would be what it was because we already had like so much handstand, walk, handstand push up, overhead. I didn't think there'd be more handstand push up. And then we had bar muscle ups. So I was like, oh, I don't think we'll have ring. But then again, because it's 9 events, you can put, like, I think we had every movement, every gymnastic movement in CrossFit. So I don't think there's anything off the tables when it's 9 events.
Trying not to give anyone a place to hide.
Fair.
That's the key. We want to find the best athlete over the weekend. I think Facundo and the Mayhem team enjoy programming it because there are 9 events, so you can really test everything and leave nothing like hidden away, which is cool. So yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. Feelings about, I mean, you last year your end was not wonderful.
Nope.
And I don't want to get into hugely into that because we probably have differing views still on that. We have differing opinions on that, on what that was. Are you excited to get back on the floor? Has that fueled you a little bit through the season?
Yeah, I think obviously for me it was I didn't get to finish the workout properly. So I didn't get to finish the weekend the way I should have been able to finish the weekend. So it's kind of is like unfinished business.
Yeah.
That's like, it just doesn't sit right with me that will be my last memory of this competition or whatever. Obviously it was a very rough time on the floor, but it is what it is. Everyone, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to go through something similar. And you just gotta, like, it's not, I always say this, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond. And it's like, yes, I could sit all year, all sad, feeling sorry for myself. I'm not going to go to that competition ever again. What's that going to do? Nothing. No one cares. Like, just pick yourself up, crack on, keep going forwards. And then, yeah, like you said, it is fuel. Like at first it was like, you feel sorry for yourself, and then you turn it around and you've got to use it as fuel. And like, yeah, I just want to do this weekend properly and like get through it the whole way, and just leave nothing to something out of my control, like leave everything onto me, and put it in my hands, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, and I think that's a good attitude to have, and a mature attitude to have, and we appreciate that, and we're excited to have you back on the floor. I think you had some really good performances last year. Anything you learned last year that you might change? It's 9 events. You were leading by event 6. Were there any points left out there that you're going, maybe
Yeah.
okay, I could have gone a little bit harder here, a little bit harder there. Like, has the experience, and I suppose that's the hard thing here, is it's 9 events. A lot of athletes have never done 9 events unless they've been to the CrossFit Games, so you don't really understand how big the swing can be, or how you're going to handle fatigue after day 2 or day 3.
Yeah.
So anything you learned from last year that you're bringing into this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a coulda, woulda, shoulda, and there's things that definitely haunt me. Like literally, for example, I think it was the heavy Isabel. I think Lani crossed the line like 0.5 of a second before me, and that was a huge 5 points. So it's things like, I think what I learned is you need to know when to have the blinkers on and just focus on you, and when to look around. Because, for example, in that event, I was too focused on me, and I, I just didn't want to fail a rep, for example. But if I'd have looked around, it was only me and Lani on the last 5 reps. No one was anywhere near. So I could have took a risk. And if you fail, it's fine. Like, but I could have got ahead of her. Whereas I was too focused on me and worried about like failing a rep. Yeah, that like 1 second could have been the difference of me winning the whole thing. So learning little things like that. And then also don't get carried away on whatever. Like if you're behind after a few days, or if you're in the first place, like it means nothing. 9 events is so many events. You can't get carried away on what's going on. So you got to just take it event by event, really.
Cool. What are you most excited for in the weekend? New venue. It's pretty cool. It's going to
Yeah.
be, we're hoping to, you said the crowd was awesome
Yeah.
last year. I think we can expect much, much more of that. Buy your tickets, limited seating tickets, get them now, or you're going to be stuck and you're going to cry.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the new arena. I'm looking forward to, like, there's a lot more athletes coming over from UAE. So people that I know, like my friends, good to see more people getting involved. And then, yeah, just looking forward to just like testing myself and trying to be the best athlete that I can be, and just like making myself proud throughout the competition. Like just keen to rip into it and see what happens, really.
And events coming leading in, like, are you feeling confident? Have you competed much this year? What does this year look like for you?
Yeah, well, it's quite funny because towards the end of last year, things weren't going great in terms of I got a few niggles. I had like a laser eye surgery, which was like just means you couldn't train. And then I got sick a few times. So training wasn't the most consistent. But I now think that was a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to have a proper off season where so I did Storm Games in January, and I showed up to the comp not fit. I just had to leave my ego at the door because I knew there's things that you don't learn in training that you can learn on the competition floor. And I've got to not care what anyone else is thinking. Go out there. If I'm not fit, it's fine. Like just still get these lessons, which I did. But it's like if I want to win Rebel in May, there's no point in me being super fit in January. Like that's not beneficial for me. And I feel what's happened for me is from like that point onwards, my fitness has just started to go up, 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 up. And I think I'm going to be peaking perfect timing for Rebel. So yeah, I think obviously it's frustrating when you're a competitor not to do as well as you wanted to, but you have to prioritize the competitions. And I knew I want to show up at Rebel the fittest that I can be. So I think that's worked in my favor in the end.
Cool. And your time at Think Tank, like, how was that? What did you learn? What is it like training in that sort of environment? I think not a lot of athletes are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to do something like that. How does that compare to?
Yeah, I think the main difference was how much intensity you have to bring to training, especially when you're in a group of people, you have coaches, eyes on, like you can't help but bring intensity into your training. And I think it's maybe something that maybe I lacked a little bit because I train a lot on my own, or like we train with our friends or with people, but a lot of us are on different programs. So it's like finding ways to bring the intensity into training. And then just having an eyes-on coach. Like Adam was there with like every session that I did. So just getting little insights, little changes, which I've not had in a long time, was just a huge difference to me. And then I lived the full-time athlete life for a month. So seeing how these guys can take much longer to warm up, take much longer to cool down, not rush off because they've got to go and coach a class. And like it also made me make sure when I came back to UAE, prioritize things. Like when I do get into a lead up to a competition, I do reduce my workload and I prioritize my training. So I kind of did that even more so this time after seeing what a lot of the top athletes who are full time will do as well.
And I mean, it's always a conversation that we end up having, particularly in this region. I suppose similar to UAE, no one's really a full-time athlete, and there's always that like, how much benefit does it give you to be a full-time athlete after spending a month doing that? What do you think?
I think it's very dependent. So someone like me, I really like to have a balance in my life and have something else that is not just competing in CrossFit. Because, for example, what happened last year, I didn't make it. I didn't make the games, but I flew back to UAE the next day. I had my friends, my family, I had my work. The next day I went and coached clients. I have other things going on. Whereas if I'd have gone like all in, just done that, and then you don't hit your goal, it's a bit like, what else do you have? So some people that works for them, that's fair enough. For me, I think I prefer to have Evie the athlete and then Evie. Like it's always the human first. And I know some of my friends as well who made the shift to do full-time athlete after going from working a lot and then full-time athlete, and it didn't work for them either. And they went back to working and balancing it. But then other athletes, I think it works really well for, because obviously it gives them way more time. You've got way more time to train, way more time to recover. It is an advantage. It's just if you can make it not your everything so that you don't burn out. Because I think that's a lot what we see a lot with people is they burn out because they go so into it and then they don't have anything else. So if you're someone who can also balance things, then I think it's a huge advantage to have.
Cool. Thank you, Evie. We
No
appreciate
problem.
your time and your insights. Very excited to have you back on the competition floor this year. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, buy some tickets. Come and support. Watch Evie throw down. And hopefully stamp your ticket to the CrossFit Games. It's going to be tough out there. It's going to be some good competition. We're really excited to see it. Thursday night entrance is going to be free, so pull in. It's Gretel on Thursday night. We're kicking off with a big one. I had one of the athletes message me, one of the US guys that's coming over, and he's like, "Yo, that first one's quite rough to start." And I was like, "Yeah, it's awesome. We want to get it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be fast. We're going to get you started on a little bit of Fran Lung on the first night, and kick off the event. Get the fans frothing for some more competition. So I think it's going to be good. So you guys want to be there. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be spectacular. This year we've planned ahead. We will have mops and vomit buckets for all the athletes that vom after that. Our staff aren't going to clean it like last year. So it's going to be good, and we're going to expect some fire on that first one. So good luck. Bring the fire, and can't wait.